Aloha. And I got somebody that's saying aloha too. Cross-eyed kitty. May May. Again, for as long as she lasts. She's up on my lap every time I want to talk to you kids and looky loos and all my subscribers. I got something for you. I've got something for you. I believe might interest some people. I said in episode 10, I remembered when I was 3 years old and I was drowning. And then you kids helped me. In episode 10 it starts off, what do you remember? Kids, what do you remember? Well, I thought I remembered when I was drowning at 3. And then I remembered what I remembered when I was 22 months old. 22, 23, 24. So I had 2 months before I was 3 drowning that I remember. So that's what I wanted to bring up now. This is the thumbnail. Uncle Martin remembers drowning, and I was happy. How could you be happy? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about, the thumbnail on drowning. Okay, I forgot to feed her again. It's usually, oh my, well, it's usually by 6:15. So you'll get your goodies in a minute, girl. Okay, and the rest of the 22 outside and the other 3 that are in the house, and Lucy, who's doing very well, she's going to get her food too. But this is so important that I bring out an episode on drowning. How see the things that I remembered after I was drowning that are going to all come full circle because it has to do with kids. When I had mentioned what year was that? What year? Oh, thank you. Year. I promise I'll get into the drowning. Last episode was episode 49. It was on Dr. Ray Brown, how he had gone down into the pyramid, found the red ruby, and the book that was written after he found the red ruby on Atlantis when he found the crystal that all this metal stuff was going haywire on. That he was on uh, Leonard Nimoy's Unexplained Mysteries. So you can check it out there. That's the guy, Dr. Ray Brown, that came over and told us all those little stories on episode 49. Now I want to critique. I don't want to critique, but I have to sometimes, and I did. And I found that I made a mistake. And as you well know, I do not edit anything. So I just want to make it perfectly clear when I had said in episode 49 that I read the book about Dr. Ray Brown in 1916. How could I have done that? I was born in 1954. How could I read a book in 1916 that wasn't even around yet? I don't remember where I was in 1916. See, it was 2016. See, numbers, kids. Numbers are so very important, especially if you have a situation where they get rearranged. And oh man, 1916. I wasn't even around in 1916. So if you can please forgive me for the last episode saying I read the book in 1916. It was 2016. Oh boy. So everything else was true. True. On the Bermuda Triangle, me asking the questions as I did and all that. Nobody else asked questions. That's really interesting. So we're at drowning at 3. This is how the story goes. Because I do remember drowning, but I didn't remember how the story went until mom and dad. Actually, it was mom. She was pretty good with the stories. Let me tell you the drowning part, and then we'll go what they remember. Okay, this is what I remember. I do remember crawling, not walking, on a white board. It was at a lake, and I crawled on this white board, and I just went into the water. Now, as I hit the water, I guess I landed on my back, And as I landed on my back, it was really green, bright. The sun was up about noonish because I could see it right about there. And I was just happy as pie, just blowing bubbles. I was blowing bubbles, and I remember all the bubbles all around my face going, blowing bubbles. And then it was like I could blow bubbles forever. And then I was blowing the bubbles. I was going, the sun was getting a little darker. Everything around me was getting darker. It was getting a little bit cold. And then I remember wings, feathers, kind of like around me. I know, feathers in the water. Yeah. And that's all I could remember. Being very happy. One of the happiest times of my life was when I was drowning. Just blowing bubbles. As many bubbles, and in fact, that's what I was thinking is, how could I have so many bubbles blowing out into this water? See? Put that on the back shelf. So that's all I remember. Mom's story was from there. The story goes, Mom thought I was with Dad. Dad thought I was with Mom, and then they saw what happened. That somebody there was a group of kids off to the left that were all watching me, and apparently one of them had the good sense of diving in for me. Bless his heart, whoever that was. It was some guy, and that's what Mom said is when Dad got over there with Mom, and I wasn't choking or anything, but I was still happy. And Dad had wanted to know, the question was, because he saw the kids standing there, and he said, why? Why would you let a 3-year-old go into the water and not stop him? That was his question. And they all said, we just wanted to see what he was going to do. And then I guess after I wasn't coming up, one of them said, I think the kid's drowning. So he dove in and got me. So he comes back out. I'm okay. And that was the whole story for all the time that I could remember. His mom said, Dad looked like he was going to, well, he was pretty upset until he thought, oh, I guess I want to maybe see what the kid's going to do too. And that was the other thing. That was the other thing. See, at 3 years old, at 22 months old, I got across the room faster than they've ever seen me in episode 10. Now, if I was 3 now, 2 months later, I could have very well walked on that little diving board, that white diving board, and I could have walked off. But I didn't. I crawled. I crawled. See, I was thinking. And then I thought, how could I have all these bubbles? I had I had like such a reservoir of bubbles, and then I found out just recently, my cousin Annette, she said, you and your mom used to play a game. She would bring you to the swimming pool, I guess when you were 1.5, 2 years old, around that area. And she says she used to hold you and put you right in the water with her. And so your nose was just above the water. And mom would look at your eyes and your nose, and then she'd go, and then you would go down. You and mom would go down into the water, looking at each other under the water. So that makes total sense. Here I am, I'm holding my breath before this whole episode happens, and it was a game mom played, thank God, with me, that I was able, see, I went off the diving board and I held my breath. It wasn't just like I just went over to the diving board and just jumped in. I actually had a motive behind whatever that was, jumping in like that. Well, I was only 3. I was just, that's how I was able to blow all those bubbles. I held my breath. And that's what Annette said. She says, you and mom used to go down and hold your breath for quite a while. So I was already prepared for this. See, parents out there, if you're around, You might want to play that little game with your children earlier than later to have them hold the breath. Being able to hold the breath and maybe do a little doggy paddle too. That would be nice. Nobody told me about the doggy paddle until I was 5 when Dad threw me in the. He did. That's right. It was 59th Avenue in Van Buren. I was 5 years old, and Aunt Pat had a swimming pool, and I had not learned to swim. I was on the paddleboard a lot, and everybody's swimming except me. So Dad says, threw me right in the middle, and Mom got really upset. And then he says, "Don't worry, dear, he'll swim." And son of a gun, kids, he was absolutely correct. When I came back to the top, because I could hold my breath, when I came back to the top of the water, I was swimming. I was swimming. They call it doggy paddle. It's called survival. When you fall in the water, you normally can just start doggy paddling, and that's how it works, kids. But you want people to be able to be around you when you're doing this. Okay, don't do it on your own initiative. That's what Uncle Martin's saying. Have a grown up, a big brother or sister. Don't be just jumping in the water. All right. Okay. Keep that in mind. So, what I wanted to say was what when I was going to do this little story after the drowning situation, but I wasn't drowning. See, I had plenty more air. Somebody saved me. Thank God, because I was going down. It was getting cold. It was deep, sort of like in that episode of Dreams Come True when Jim jumped off into the water, and he says he was getting down about 28, 33 feet. It was getting dark. It was getting cold, and that's what happens. You keep going deeper and deeper into the water, kids. It gets cold and it gets dark. Okay, keep that in mind. It's not like a cave. You just go into I'll bring up the cave another time. The point being, what I remember seeing after all of that 3-year-old experience of the wings around me and a feeling of euphoria is what the word would be. And after that, when I was in a room, basically over Nanny's house, or when we got to Flagstaff, and that was what I was going to say. I was able to see, for whatever reason, in the corner of the room, a rope. A rope would be hanging down, and it was a kind of golden yellow rope, and it wasn't the size of like a gym rope. It was maybe half the size of a gym rope, hanging down on the north side corner of the room, and I saw that from that experience from 3 years old to 4, just before I was 5. I was still 4, but I didn't have my 5th birthday yet. So that's what I wanted to bring up to you kids. When you see, um, as I said in episode with the fairies and gnomes, episode 22, I had mentioned, kids, you're probably out there, you 22-month, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, and you're able to see fairies and gnomes and angels, maybe even a rope hanging on the north side of the room. Golden rope would be preferable. Don't say anything. Keep it to yourself until just a little bit as you get older, as you get more experience. The reason I say this is because I remember vividly Dad came into the room, my bedroom in Flagstaff. I was 4, must have been just before my 5th birthday, because I was still 4. And he says, "Come on, son, you're gonna come on in. It's dinner time." And this is what I did. I said, "Dad, because I'm laying in bed, I'm looking at the rope, and I said, Dad, do you see, Dad? Do you see that yellow golden rope over there in the corner from the ceiling?" And he's looking at me. I'm asking him. He looks over there and says, "Rope? I don't see any rope." Then he looks back at me. I look at him, and then I look over there. No more rope. Didn't see any more rope. I didn't see any more that kind of rope. I did see well, in episode 3, as you remember or not, who haven't got there, my first day in first grade, when I was St. Martin coming home, and the first thing I do when I open up the doors is right in the middle of the living room is a Navy rope hanging down. So as I put this all together, I think that's, well, sure, they couldn't tire us out, obviously, because we just were those kind of kids. You just couldn't tire us out. But Dad might have had more than just wanting to tire us out. He might have thought maybe, hey, why don't I put a rope in the middle of our living room? Have the kids climb it. Swing on it maybe for 24 hours before somebody knocks the lampshade over, and then you just have to climb it. Never swing again. Yeah, that's pretty much how it ended up. So, kids, I just wanted to let that be known to you, all you little ones out there that are able to see things that other people see. That's what I'm saying. Why didn't I mention it before? Why didn't I bring it up? Because you know what I thought? What I thought? I thought everybody could see that golden little yellow rope that was hanging down in the north side corner of the room. I just thought it's like everybody could see it until that one day, and maybe it was verification, maybe because nobody else mentioned it, but I thought everybody could see it. So everybody saw it and I saw it. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, kids. When it comes to fairies and gnomes and angels, hold off a little bit till you get more experience, and just put it on the back shelf, okay? Because not everybody can see those things. Is what I'm saying. Some people can that have a whole lot of experience, and well, they probably don't even talk about it either. Now that I'm thinking about it. So that's what I just wanted to say about my drowning experience and angels, which I will have a total episode on angels because it's just too important not to leave angels out, especially when I felt the wings around me at 3. And then later on, as I got more experience, it happened a few other times to where actually it was two occasions. I'll just briefly go over it. It was when I was um, I was going toward Magoo Rock, and I had a car, and I rolled it 7.5 times. And how do you know that? How do you know that? Because when it was on its side, 2 gentlemen, one of them was kind of Oriental, and he said, "That's the most amazing thing I ever saw in my life. You rolled that car 7.5 times. I counted them." I said, 7.5 times? And I remember that when I was doing that roll, I was like being bounced all around the car, but I didn't feel anything. I felt, know what I felt? Know what I felt? I felt these wings, like feathered wings that were around my body. That that's what I felt again. So it brought me back to when I was drowning at 3. These feathered wings. The third time that I'm recanting here would have been in 2000. I want to say 7 or 8, because I was driving a AAA cab, and it was 3 o'clock in the morning on the west side of town where you don't want to be. And I was, and there was something going on, and I wanted to get away from the situation. So the car that was coming this way down the road, I said, I'm getting right. As soon as that passes, I'm going. And I didn't see anything behind the car. It was somebody tailgating that car. So when they went by and I came out, I was like a deer in headlights, as they say. My whole car was lengthwise. I thought I was going to be making a left-hand turn, and what I was looking at was headlights that were now coming at me at least 35, 40 miles an hour. Okay. And they hit, and just before I got hit with these headlights, I felt an extreme heat and the same feathers. The feathers were around me. And what happened was that car hit the driver's side where I was on, and I didn't even have time to jump over to the passenger side. That's how fast it was. I mean, it was just really quick. But during that time of that headlight of deer in the headlights, I felt an extreme heat, and I felt the feathers, the the no hands. It was just like feathers of of an angel. Just feathers, you know. And so the car was totaled. The door had a big indentation on it. And when the police came, they didn't even give anybody a ticket. They just kind of said, you know, you're very fortunate. And by the way, they wanted to take me to the hospital because the one officer said, yeah, we've seen this before, man. You're gonna be a mess. I don't believe how you're not a mess, but you're gonna be crinkled and everything, and your back and blah blah. I'm saying, boy, that sounds awful negative. And he says, no, we better take you to the hospital. I said, no, I'm fine. I'm really okay. Don't worry about it. He says, well, okay, but tomorrow is going to be another day, and you're going to be in that. He was just like throwing a lot of negativity at me. I said, no, I'm fine. I'm going to be okay. And by God's grace, I didn't even need a chiropractor or anything. I just woke up normally, and I had a walk to work because I didn't have a car anymore, and and that would be another story. That you normally fire people when that happens. But my point being that the car was totaled, and it was on the driver's side. So that extreme heat and the feathers, kids, there are angels out there, all right? And I even got more proof that when I come up with the episode Angels, see, this is on Drowning at 3, which we're basically done with. But I had to throw the angel part in because it was a minimum of 3 times. There was actually more, but we just don't have all day with this. It'll be on the angels when that comes up. And well, I promise, all of you out there that know about angels, you're going to have to say, go Uncle Martin. And then the rest of you just say, hey, there are no angels. I can't see them. I can't feel them. Well, then all you have is just little more things to learn. That's all. There's no judgment here. Just because you can't see or feel something doesn't mean it isn't existing. That's all Uncle Martin's saying about that, okay? So it'll be coming angels when that comes time. Oh boy, I think I hit about everything I could on the stuff you would see kids just kind of, or pick a lock. Just keep it to yourself until you get more experience. That's all. Um, so that's all I wanted to say about that. That we do have things around us, helpful and not so helpful. And we always want the helpful things around us. And that is why, kids, before you go to bed, you always say to your guardian angel, I want you to protect me tonight, and I want a nice sleep, and I would like to remember all my dreams. And not only that, I want to be in control of my dreams. You always ask that, kids, because you're going to dream, and there's no reason why you can't be in control of them also. And that'll be under the episode when it comes to dreams. We already hit that one with Apache Lake and me losing my canoe, dreams come true, losing my canoe, Elsie the cow saving us, and Gretchen, which I'm still looking for that picture. I think I know where it is. Gretchen, I got that picture, and I'll bring that out when I next time. Hopefully, the next time I see you, we'll just say, "Hey, this is a picture of Gretchen," and yeah, okay. So the angels that are around you, kids, there are tons of them. But you have a guardian angel, and then you have the 7 archangels. Fantastic. I say that you're not supposed to have a favorite, but I believe Archangel Michael is definitely got to be my absolute favorite. Archangel Michael. So if you ever have a problem with negativity around you, you can say it out loud. Archangel Michael, please come forth. Or you can just think it. Archangel Michael, I really need your help. Bada bing, bada boom. You're going to have the sword of Archangel Michael at your side, cutting and cleaving that negativity away. I can say that for true because I know Archangel Michael's helped me so many times. And we'll just bring that up when it comes time for the episode of Angels. So That's all I got for you this Sunday, this happy Sunday. Because I got to go feed the cross-eyed kitty, Coogie, who I got to bring out for you one of these times. Panther you'll never see because she's a feral cat that I've fed since she was a baby, and she's gone all day until I bring out the food. Then she's gone again. That's the way it works sometimes, kids with cats. And then I got the 22 outside, and Lucy's, I can hear her barking out there, protecting the property. That 23-year-old dog that has more experience than most. And that was episode 47, how we did there. But anyway, I just want to say, everybody, it's so nice to be able to talk to you once again on a happy Sunday. And until I see you again, which will be next Sunday, aloha and be well.